Okay, so welcome to history. Thank you very much to you for you to come to this session. I'm going to very quickly try and outline what we do, what we teach in the A-level history course, and think about maybe where an A-level in history can lead as well, particularly for the students, kind of longer term where this might take you. And I'll just highlight the performance of OLA historians over the past few years as well. So hopefully, that will give you confidence that history is a successful subject, as well as obviously an enjoyable subject and a fascinating look at the story of people really through the ages. This is a slide that certainly many of the students will have seen. I showed this on in the taster lessons. I'll flag this up again quickly here, so you get a very clear sense of what we teach. We follow the Pearson, the edXL specification, and it's a modern history course. There are 4 units in total, 4 modules to this in total. 3 of them are examined at the end of the upper 6th, and the 3rd one's a piece of coursework that students spend the majority of the upper 6th working on, and then they hand it in just before Easter in the upper 6th. Myself and Mr. Irving share the teaching of the course, and over the 2 years we each teach 50% of it, and we teach in both years as well. So the lower 6th course is a 20th century course. We look at communist states. This complements and dovetails quite nicely with some of the GCSE work, particularly that we come on to in year 11 with the Cold War. I teach a course on Russia, the communist Soviet Union. So we begin with the Russian Revolution, establishing communism in Russia. I go right up to the fall of the Soviet Union, just after the fall of the Berlin Wall, exactly 30 years ago in 1991. So in the grand scheme of history, that's pretty recent as a topic. And Mr. Irving alongside me teaches a similar course, but looking at communist China. The time period's slightly shorter. It's focusing just on China when it was led by Mao Zedong, so Chairman Mao, who brought communism to Russia, and it goes up to his death in 1976. And we think about what the idea is. Why did these particular places suddenly take on such an extreme, such a different ideology to run their country by? We think about the impact on people's lives, how the country was run, and there's obviously some overlap between the two in some ways, which is quite nice. To some of the more complex ideas and theories are cropping up in both Russia and in China, so it kind of reinforces understanding there. But also we think, well, were things a bit different sometimes in China and in Russia? I made the comparison with my lower 6th today about some economic reforms at the very end of communist Russia that didn't go very well, and we were talking about how they went much better in China, which is probably why China is still a kind of communist superpower, and obviously the Soviet Union isn't. In the upper 6th, Mr. Irving teaches a much broader period of history, a British history course, looking at reform, looking at change, looking at how Britain went from a country in which only about 2% of the population had any say in the running of the country, basically rich men, the richest men, to the effectively the democracy that we live in today, looking at political changes, but also looking at how the people in different ways organized, campaigned, protested to bring about changes to make Britain fairer, more equal, and to kind of protect and enhance the rights of British people. So a much broader period of history, but again some themes that obviously tie in with the some of the sort of motivation behind the communism in the lower 6th. And I oversee a piece of coursework which is linked into the lower 6th China course, so that there's no new content to learn there, but we spend most of the year kind of preparing, reading, debating, and producing an extended essay which is critiquing the views of different historians. So it's kind of challenging and trying to explain and justify or dismiss their interpretations of the past. That's, as I say, an extended essay. It's twice as long as the GCSE coursework that we're just setting at the moment, but this is over the bulk of the upper six. So that's the course. That's what we teach. I'm going to try and switch slides now. I've just lost my cursor, so I'm hoping I don't close something else down. Here we go. So why take history for A-level? Well, in terms of what you gain from it, I think it's a crucial subject for understanding the world we live in today. Again, while Ursik were talking about what Vladimir Putin's up to in Russia, obviously his sort of background in the communist system. So, you know, the events in Russia today, and actually in China today as well, very much linked into that lower sixth course. Again, some of the stranger things Boris Johnson might do, you know, we can trace. Are they the product of some of the reforms in Mr. Irving's upper sixth course? History is all about people, and it's all about ideas. What makes people tick? What makes people act in a particular way? What makes people react in a particular way? So there's elements of philosophy and thinking in the course as well. And because of that, there's not necessarily a right or wrong answer to most of the wider questions that we pose. It's problem solving, it's debating, it's thinking critically, it's interrogating, it's discussing, and it's arguing. It's a really good argument subject, and certainly that's one of the beauty of A-level history in particular, that we can really get our teeth into some quite deep and quite meaty arguments and meaty debates about the past. It's all assessed by writing, so it has to be, you have to be comfortable, competent in broadly sort of essay writing skills to take history, but then it's a chance to really explore on paper, again, these kind of complex and original and critical ideas, and to take on the views, as I said, with the coursework, of the historians, of the experts in this field as well. Where does that lead? Well, skills are very, very transferable. This is a subject that's based on research skills. It's based on analytical skills. It's based on communication skills, listening, empathy, writing, presenting. So there are all sorts of very transferable skills. So obviously not everyone who takes a history A-level goes on to become a history teacher. Some of us clearly do, but most people who take a history A-level or take history even beyond A-level go into all sorts of different fields, all sorts of different walks of life. Politics is an obvious one with the nature of the course that we do, but again, journalism, media, you can see even comedians there. People like Louis Theroux and Sacha Baron Cohen, who you probably know as Borat, or parents might remember as Ali G. Also all sorts of very different walks of life. Lots of accountants have got history backgrounds because of the analytical skills, marketing, as I say, law, management, librarianship, as well as kind of heritage-y type jobs as well. So there are all sorts of opportunities because history is really, really good developing and promoting these kind of transferable skills, what are sometimes called the soft skills that you can have to use in any walk of life. And our historians do very well. You can see there that the bulk of our A-level historians for the past 4 years have got no lower than a B grade. You'll notice some of those obviously don't add up to 100%. The ones that don't a C grade. So we'll have maybe one student getting a C grade and the bulk of students getting Bs and particularly As and some A stars as well. So historians tend to do well. And I think that's because they enjoy the subject. They love the subject. They have a passion for what they're doing. They've identified that, yeah, the way it's assessed is what I'm good at. And, you know, I think myself and Mr. Irving have been teaching this course for a number of years now. We're experienced, we know how to resource the course, and I think that the students go into the exams very, very well prepared for what they do. If that doesn't sound slightly overblowing a trumpet, maybe. Our students do very, very well, and that's measuring against the kind of value-added type data that we're judged on as well. Okay, so it's just gone past 8:30 now. I'm very happy to take questions. I'm very happy for you to drop out if you don't have any questions, and would obviously like to move on and go to dinner or do whatever else your evening might have in store for you. So thank you very much for being here this evening. Thank you.
No questions. Just thank you very much for that.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.